Boom, what is up, guys? Welcome back to another MMA Breakdown podcast. And I want to talk to you guys about one thing. People are always talking about Ronda Rousey. Is she the most dominating fighter in the UFC today? Beating her last opponent in 14 seconds, then beating her other opponent, Sarah McMahon, I think it was, in 19 or 20 seconds. So she's completely dominating both women that she fought. My thing is, okay, they have crappy game plans. They're coming out there swinging, just rushing her. And don't they realize she is a judo practitioner, a judo player who's been doing judo for her whole life. And you gotta look at it this way, guys. She is a dominating force in judo, and she'll just annihilate you guys. People, if you're a woman at the 135-pound division, why would you just rush in and try to dominate Ronda Rousey? That is stupid. You don't clinch with her. You would do what I would think if I was game planning against Ronda Rousey. I would say this. You stand on the outside, you throw a few jabs here and there, you keep it on the outside, kind of like what Carlos Condit did to Nick Diaz. He stayed on the outside, jab, ran around the cage. That's what I would do, because you don't know if Ronda Rousey is going to be able to deal with somebody like that who throws a jab and runs around, throws a jab, runs around. And if it does go to the ground, you gotta have the skill set to get up immediately like that, because Ronda Rousey, literally, you get on the ground, her armbar, and you're done. I haven't seen a woman, besides maybe Miesha Tate, give her a little bit of a hard time out of the first round, because Miesha Tate has been in the armbar, and she does just, it's like Luke Thomas at MMAfighting.com. Maybe Ronda Rousey doesn't have any other submissions. Maybe her rear naked choke is garbage. Maybe her Kimura is garbage. And the only submission she really knows is an armbar, so that's what she goes for every time. And it's like people say, people know she's going to go for an armbar, but they still get clinched up with her. I would not rush Ronda Rousey, because that is the stupidest thing. You got to stay on the outside and kind of play the Lyoto Machida game and be elusive. That's what I would tell my fighter if I was a coach. I would say be elusive, find out every fighter who's dominated or at least tried to do everything against her and what failed. If you look at every fighter who's clinched with her, what happens? They get dunked on their head. You got Miesha Tate dunked on her head. You got Kat Zingano dunked on her head. You had Sarah McMahon dunked on her head. What does that mean? The next opponent who fights her needs to play the elusive game, throw a couple jabs here and there. I'm not saying I'm a coach, I'm not saying anything, I'm just saying as a dude who watches mixed martial arts and thinks this is the way to beat her, is not rushing her and trying to play the clinch game, because if you're clinching with somebody who's been doing judo their whole life, their instinct is to grab you and slam you. That's their instinct. It's like me when I play bass. It's easy to pick up a bass and start playing chords because it's so familiar to me, because I've been playing about 10 years. It's like, what do they call it? Muscle memory. You don't even think about it, and it's just, you're just playing the bass or playing your instrument. It's the same thing with Ronda Rousey. She can slam guys that are more than half her weight, and then slam them like it's nobody's business, because it's normal. If I went in there to grapple with her, before I had any chance to do anything, I would be slammed on the ground quick, and she slams you hard. So for these women who think, oh, it's okay, I'm just gonna rustle her to the ground or rough her up and get in there and start punching her and knock her out, nah, it ain't gonna work. So I think whoever fights her next, and if people are saying Holly Holmes is the next person to beat her, that's a laugh, because Holly Holmes, to me, wasn't the overly impressive person that she was supposed to be, because everybody's like, well, she's a girl that's gonna beat Ronda Rousey easy. I don't see that, and I don't see Chris Cyborg beating her either, because Chris Cyborg could make 135. Put it this way, she's a very big girl, big person to make 135, and she might be gassing out. And yes, she has extreme knockout power, but I still don't see that happening. And to be honest with you guys, in the end, Ronda Rousey is probably right now in the UFC the most dominating fighter on the planet. More dominant than Cain Velasquez, more dominant than John Jones, because she's finishing fights in less than a minute. She has the fastest submission victory in the UFC at 14 seconds. I mean, I can see why Dana White's pissed off that the fight didn't go last longer and people didn't tune in more. But it's kind of like those Mike Tyson heydays when Mike Tyson would just go in and knock people out. People were getting bored. They were like, I'm paying $200 for a Mike Tyson title fight, and the fight's over before I can even eat a piece of popcorn. It's ridiculous because, yes, it's exciting to see her whoop ass and beat her opponent like that, but as a fight fan, you want to see the fight play out like, oh my god, they're going back and forth, not just you blink and then the fight's over. Because that's how fast the fight was. Because literally, I turned away from my screen for a minute, and the fight was done. I had to watch the replay to actually watch the fight. That's how ridiculous it was. Because I turned like this, and I was like, oh, okay, I was talking to a friend, and I turned around and I was like, wait, what? The fight's over. I don't want to see that happen where the next fight is in 9 seconds, or the next fight is in 8 seconds. You know, it's just what it is. I just think women in mixed martial arts need to play the elusive game with her. Stay on the outside, pick their shots, throw a couple jabs here and there, and see if Ronda Rousey can do it. Because Ronda Rousey isn't a very aggressive person. It's kind of like when you have like an Anderson Silva, kind of, when no one's coming at him. His fights are boring because he just sits there and goes. Because he's like a counter striker. Same thing with Chuck Liddell. If no one was coming at Chuck Liddell, his fights would be boring because he's a counter striker. And Ronda Rousey is one of those chicks. If the fighter's not rushing her, she ain't gonna be able to throw you on the ground. So I would say for every woman who's fighting Ronda Rousey, stay on the outside and be very elusive. Let me know in the comments, guys, if you think that would be the best bet for whoever fights her next. If it's Miesha Tate or if it's whoever, should they stay on the outside and play the elusive game, kind of like what Carlos Condit did to Diaz, or what Lyoto Machida does to all his opponents? Because that personally would be the best bet, to stay on the outside and throw jabs. And you've got to be training with high-level jiu-jitsu players if you're going to be facing Ronda. If you're not going to know what it feels like to get slammed on your head. So, as always, guys, I will definitely talk to you guys next time. This is just my opinion on how I think the fight should go if you fight Ronda Rousey. I'm not saying I can beat Ronda Rousey. I'm not saying your mama can beat Ronda Rousey. I'm not saying this is a game plan that would work, but I think it's the game plan that should work. Be elusive and get her in the deep water. Try to throw a jab. Try to get back. Because if you look how great her boxing is, it's tremendous. Her boxing is so great, but her armbar and her judo is like A+ top notch. It's world class. She's like high level. And most of these women, here's Ronda, here's most of the women, they're not even on her league when it comes to the grappling. So I would stay away from grappling with Ronda Rousey, but that's just my opinion, and I'll see you guys in the next video.